What's going on, Jerome's? TJ Hockenson is a top 3 tight end in the National Football League, and he ain't 3. And last year, he was on pace for a 100 and 1,000 season, but unfortunately, Dirty Kirby Joseph did his Dirty Kirby Joseph thing, and you could say, sure, it is a one-off freak accident. It's unfortunate. It's a collision sport, yes, but then he did it literally like weeks afterwards. No. But Hockenson is one of the few Hawkeyes that can actually stand. So it's like TJ Hockenson, Caitlin Clark, Denny Green, rest in power. That's it. That's it. I know people are going to complain. What about Chad Greenway and Jerry Burns? Did I stutter? Yeah. Not just kidding. Chad Greenway's fantastic. But with Hockenson, it's really unfortunate the way that he got dinged up. He's a major part of this Vikings passing game. He, Jefferson, and Addison formed that holy triumvirate, the MF and tripod in terms of pass catchers for the Vikings. No matter who the hell is under center, you're going to have a chance chucking it up to these three. But Hockenson, since his ACL did happen late in the season, I mean, his availability to start the year was certainly up in the air. And Will Ragg at Sports Illustrated last week, sorry I buried the lead, talking about an article about Robert Tonyan, who we'll get to in a second. But in terms of how it's going to be with Hockenson, this is what Will wrote. Looking for additional tight end depth to help survive what's expected to be at least a 4 to 6 week absence for TJ Hockenson. The Vikings brought in Tonyan, blah, 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 blah. So expected to be at least 4 to 6 weeks. Now, I never claimed to be a journalist or reporter, but people tell me things because I have a very trusting face. And that is syncing up with things. I think that I do think that Hockenson is odds-on favorite to start on the PUP list. And the PUP rules. So what is the PUP list? Physically unable to perform. Designation for players who are physically unable to perform. I just said that. Football activities due to football-related injuries. Now, the NFI list, non-football injury list, is for, I don't know, if a player gets yeeted by a jet ski in the offseason, that's what happens, man. Or if they have an injury away from the team facility, that's what happens. But anything on the field and practice in the facility, that's on the PUP. How does it work? So blah, blah, blah. Basically, you have to be on the PUP list to start training camp, and you don't count towards the 90-man roster limit. And if you want to be on the regular season PUP list, you have to be on the training camp preseason active PUP list. Otherwise, you can't just put players there just to warehouse them so they don't count against the 53. But so there you go. And I do think it's going to be a spot where Hockenson is on the preseason training camp PUP list, and then he's transferred to the regular season. Now, you used to have to miss 6 games before 2022. Now it is 4 games going forward. So, with Hockenson, the thing that I like about Kevin O'Connell and company is that they're very cautious with injuries. So if he misses the first 4 weeks of the season, be the Giants, Niners, Texans, Packers, would be eligible to return in London against the Jets. But if he skipped that game, he would be able to return after the bye week, week 7. And eventually after 4 weeks, you can choose to activate a player. He can start practicing. You have a 3-week window before adding him to the 53-man rooster. Otherwise, he reverts to injured reserve for the rest of the season. But I think that it is a spot where they're going to be very cautious with Hockenson, as evidenced how Jefferson returned from his hamstring last year, as well as how Brian O'Neill came back from his partially torn Achilles last training camp. So it's something that is fantastic about Kevin O'Connell and company. And there's a couple extra complications with Hockenson's recovery timeline. Number 1, it happened so late in the season. And number 2, Hockenson and his doctors actually waited a month to perform the ACL surgery because they wanted to let the MCL heal on its own before they went in and cut. So that could impact his availability to start the season. And with Tonyan, so I do like the tight ends in-house, but Tonyan does have experience. Well, he definitely has experience around the NFC North, but also he has been a high-volume pass-catching tight end before, as evidenced by 11 touchdowns in 2020. Did have his own ACL in 2021. It sort of hampered things with him, but he is a decent blocker. He is a decent receiver and can be a decent spot starter at tight end. So I do think it's going to be a legitimate competition between Johnny Munt and Robert Tonyan to get those receiving reps from Hockenson. And we've said this a bunch, I think Oliver's role is set in stone. I think that he is that Jim Kleinsasser, Rhett Ellison blocking tight end, and I don't think that Hockenson out is going to change Oliver's role per se. But also maybe young guys like Nick Muse or Trey Knox can get into the mix as well. But I think that Tonyan signing really showed how the team feels, how they're going to progress with Hockenson going forward. Where 2 is 1, 1 is none. Johnny Munt, the coaches like a lot, and he filled in fine last year, but competition never hurt anyone, so bringing Tonyan in the mix does make sense. But your thoughts are thoughts. TJ Hockenson reportedly expected to miss at least the first 4 to 6 weeks of the regular season as he recovers from his ACL. Let us know your thoughts and our thoughts in the comment section below. Subscribe for daily Vikings takes. Want to support the work? Put a little something in the Venmo. But until next time, Skol, production value.